about to start here in the SM. Apparently they're beating Kefka at Narshe with 99 Terras, by the way. Should make the race doubly exciting. Okay, so they are off. I'm gonna sync some timers on my side. So things get technical right from the get-go here. Changing their battle speed and memory speed. The battle speed to 6, which is the slowest. Message speed to 1, which is the fastest. And memory cursor in order to make sure their cursor stays where they last left it. All throughout this sequence, they're going to be trying to manipulate so that both Wedge and Vix are running away from battle, but question mark does not, ensuring that Terra will get as much experience as possible. So they will be manipulating the run mechanic, which is you need to have both full ATB and the full run gauge, which is invisible, needs to be filled, and that can only be filled by running. So you're going to see them running during animations, at the beginning of battles, during pincer attacks here where you can't run. Another mechanic which comes in here is when there's a pincer, you have to clear one side in order to empty it out. But that Lobo there also has a can't run tag on it, so it also has to be killed before they can successfully run. So that's basically what's going to be happening in a lot of these fights coming up.
As we also saw, they also took a detour going one space to the right, going up, and one space back to the left. That is to avoid two encounters that would interfere with experience routing and everything. We want to get to... Sorry, go ahead.
No, mine's addition, so you go ahead.
Basically, what we want to do is get to level 5 with our unknown character. This is for damaging with our skill with the tech missile. Also, these Valmoths have a no run flag as well, so we want to get rid of them first before we take on the two guards.
Absolutely, and no, all I was going to note is that LCC did a bit of a backwards bolt beam swag going on. The music is, yeah, I'm loud, guys, sorry, not sorry. So yeah, that's something you're going to potentially see in these runs, is both of these runners are incredibly skilled at this category. So because of that, the only things which are generally going to end things are RNG for the most part. There will be a little bit of execution. Sometimes some of the fights, just if you don't execute perfectly, that could be enough to win or lose the race. But as this tournament is called Gao, Wherefore Art Gao, Gao is the big determining factor, as we've seen a few times since we've gotten to the bracket stage. So let's see how it goes here at this next boss fight.
Now, as you can see, Neerrm is just entered Welk, and basically we're just holding A to get through these texts. Same with what LCC is doing. And for this fight, we want to start re-tricking as soon as possible with tech missiles and our various other abilities to make sure Welk cannot pull into its shell. The shell has its own ATB, but we want to manipulate it so it can't reach the full potential of it.
Yeah, so the way we manipulate that is by sitting in a menu while actions and animations are going on. That does pause the ATB, but does not lose us any time, and it pauses the ATB for everyone. So you'll also see that they are purposely attacking the shell with Fire Beam, triggering the counterattack. That is to further delay the ATB, giving them time to get that third and last tech missile off, which should kill the Welk. It's always a good idea to queue up an extra attack after that third tech missile, though, just in case the damage values were not enough in order to do the final kill. But in both of their cases, both of them are getting the quick kills. Yep. That is excellent to see.
And they are probably 6 seconds between each other at the moment.
Actually, I just synced up their timers on my own stream, and they're perfectly in almost like seconds in sync. They are, I think, like literally a second between them. It is definitely very shiny. So, of course, we are going into another cutscene, and one thing you're going to notice about this category is there are quite a few cutscenes, and depending on where the cutscene happens, depends on the technology, like the tech we're going to use in order to get past it. In battles, as this one is happening, you just get to hold A. As Zero mentioned, we did the same thing in the Welk battle at the beginning of it, but in this cutscene, just hold A, and it will press A at the first frame possible to skip to the next text box. So it does save a lot of time. They do need to mash outside of battle in their cutscenes. And what you're going to see them doing now is they do get named, each character gets named to one character. And by doing that, the text scrolls outside of battle. So you want to actually inside of battle too. So you want to save as much time as possible. So they're going to rename all or most of the characters to one letter just so it scrolls faster, saving actual seconds throughout the hour-and-a-half run. So Terra becomes T. Okay, so the next section is going to consist of them leveling up Terra or T more, but one thing that they've done in order to get to that is they have, in advance of the race, set up their step route. So they are manipulating the step route, and so they're going to know exactly where they're going to get their particular encounters here in the next section. And what that will allow for is they will fight all of the encounters they come across, and then farm for one extra so they have enough experience to hit level 6. One thing I'll also note is something, I won't say it's 100% unique to this game, but definitely new to this game, is that you don't get any experience from the boss battles. So in order to do any sort of grinding or experience manipulation, it must be done during regular battles.
Yeah, the only thing bosses do give are items and later on magic points, but those don't matter at this point. Hopefully neither of these two runs will get a pincer attack, because as we've seen before, that wastes a turn and more magic, but...
I'll admit it to you, I thought that one was going to be a pincer attack because you just mentioned it, but thankfully it's not.
Hopefully they don't curse anyone!
Oh, we're blaming you, Zero, for any future pincer attacks, just so you know. But yeah, one of the things which is variable in these runs are the type of attack. So we want all preemptives or side attacks. There you go. I'm telling LCC, he's not going to appreciate it.
Whoops! Oh well. I mean, there are several other kind of attacks as well. Back attacks and preemptives and side attacks as well.
Absolutely.
But pincers take the most amount of time to deal with.
Yeah, they really do, because unless you have smoke bombs, which we will talk about in a bit, because we will be picking some of those up as soon as we can. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you need to kill one side of the encounter in order to escape. It is time consuming. And here it means you can't use a full party fire as they've been doing. Neerrm with the back attack, which is also not ideal, but not as bad as a pincer. So both of them, their Terras did learn Antot, so they are into the cutscene. So we'll be talking about what's going on. This is the Kefka Narshe tournament, though. We're in our semifinals. The run is an hour and a half long, and we're racing just up to the point where they defeat Kefka up at Narshe. So we are, of course, back into cutscenes. So it's not so bad, but we start getting some of the backstory of our characters. And if you guys are not familiar with this game, because the text only scrolls so fast, you can actually read most of the text if that is something you're interested in. But I usually get the, oh no, speedruns, why would we read text reaction when I mention that? So you do what you want. But in this soldier fight with Terra, it is a random encounter, or a random what happens, but... it's scripted what happens, but Terra can attack any one of those 3 soldiers, so we want her to attack the front one, and Neerrm did get that, though LCC did get the other one, the other front one. She didn't walk all the way to the back, so saving some frames. Thanks, game. We love that.
we also introduced to our favorite villain of the series as well, or one of the favorite villains,
Excuse you,
anyways.
second favorite villain of the series.
Okay, second favorite. He's one of the more well-known villains. How's that?
Absolutely, definitely the most devious. Okay, so it is time to get introduced to our next player character and my personal favorite player character. Yes, I do have to make those distinctions. I have many favorites in this game. So he is back from a hard day of robbing and plundering and is being roped in to help out with the resistance. We are naming him L, or should be naming him L. Yep, both did. And so again, he is going to help lead us to the next section of the game. And so what is coming up is we are going to be heading into, if you're familiar with this game at all, there is a section where you split into multiple parties, walk different paths, you're supposed to fight all the enemies along the way, and eventually fight the boss in the back. But this is a speedrun, so we really just do not have time for that. So we don't get to pick our own parties in this case, so we just get to choose which of the pre-assembled parties we are going to be using. We have to get through a bit more cutscene first, and then we'll talk a bit more as it's happening, but we're going to be doing some neat tech because we just want to fight the boss. We don't have time for random encounters, or not so random encounters.
We don't have time for these on-screen battles.
Double coupon? Get your coupons ready, guys, because the Moogles have arrived. Excellent. Apparently I'm spoiling you guys. You're so welcome. So I'm going to pause up here for a second. So I'm less ahead.
So, as we see here, both of these guys are bypassing the monsters as they are moving with the legs out. That's the only way you can bypass them. If they are moving without the legs out, we will get into an encounter. And they are both... No, Neerrm unfortunately takes an encounter while LCC goes into the battle with the Marshal. Now, we want to make sure we run buffer with the party before we attack, and to make sure he doesn't net anyone which causes stop. We will the middle two party members, Cuckoo and Kutan, will attack the Lobos, while Mog and Kupan attack the Marshal. And during one of the turns with Mog, we want to steal his equipment for later use.
Yeah, and actually that's the reason we wanted to run at the beginning of the battle to delay the net, because if one of the other Mogs gets stopped, it's unfortunate, but we can deal with it. But Mog, we really do need his equipment, especially his pike. So by running at the beginning of the battle, it does delay the ATB just enough, so even if Mog does get... wow, getting some nice swag there, catching a Neerrm up. So yeah, if Mog does get stopped, it gives us enough delay so we can at least get into his menu and take his stuff. So because Neerrm did fight that battle before the Marshal, he was able to learn Mog's dance in advance because he's one of our actual player characters. So he decided to use that. It can be potentially super swag depending on what move Mog does, but Snare is the main ideal one because it does just kill the Marshal right out, which we want. We had a match a few days ago where they did that, and we got Poison Frog, which I didn't even know was possible to get from that particular dance, but it did a lot of damage. So again, kind of one-shot kill that Marshal. So we are done with that fight. LCC currently in the lead, but again, there's so many things which could change at this point, so it does not mean a lot. Now, going back to our step routing, they're both heading out to the world map, so they're going to be walking very precisely because they are trying to specifically hit the no threat tiles which exist on the world map, because that means their threat counter won't go up any further, which of course we use to manipulate where we get our future encounters. So they are just going to get 2 encounters here on the world map. And most of a lot of the encounter manipulation we do is in order to manipulate the encounters which we're going to get on the Veldt when we hit it later on in the run. There are certain encounters which, if we do get them and don't avoid them, we will 100% see on the Veldt, or at least have an improved chance of seeing, depending on the Gal luck.
So, on LCC size, we are now in Storytime Castle, and we're about to talk to our next story trigger.
I love our next story trigger.
He's some kind of machinist, correct?
Oh, I hear something like that. I call him an engineer, but I know future games call him a machinist. Or other games call his class a machinist.
Yes, but he's more of an engineering type person.
Yeah, so...
So we have E here.
The less superior name.
Yes, indeed. So after he's trying to charm T and failing, because he's a bit rusty, possibly, which I'll say in a few seconds. We get to go about doing our thing with walking about the castle, but pretty much now-ish. So yeah, most times this was go about and explore, but we don't care about exploring. We just want to get to the next story trigger, which is the matron who is in a few rooms from where we want to be.
Yeah, and it's exactly why we call this Storytime Castle, because you're literally just walking from plot point to plot point to plot point. And at least it's better than Camp Cutscene later on, because Camp Cutscene, you move 2 steps and it auto-triggers the next cutscene and you're just out of control completely. At least in Storytime Castle, you get to manually walk around and control where the cutscenes are a little better.
So naming... Oops, sorry. No, so you go ahead, Nara.
Okay, I was going to say, so we are naming our next character Sabin. He is just going to be named S, which is great. So one of the fun things that you can do here is you can sit and just keep mashing at the matron, because he is facing the wrong direction, or you're facing right into her. So if you're not ready to start moving right after that cutscene, you can just literally sit there and mash at her and just keep talking, because of course she will keep talking as long as you keep mashing at her.
And LCC gained some very good luck with the Chancellor there. Basically, if our movement was too perfect, we would get stopped by him and lose a little couple, like at least a second. And here comes Kefka with the most iconic laugh in the game series.
So beautiful. Oh, good. Okay. I wasn't sure whether we had game sound from LCC there. I was listening to Neerrm's music. But, idiots. So Kefka has showed up on his regular inspection tour, and he obviously hates being out here. It's sandy. I'm assuming it's, not very nice, and I'm, lazy. So one of the little things we can do, and that LCC did accomplish, it's a frame perfect or pretty close to frame perfect trick. It does save us a couple of frames by doing it, but we mostly do it for the swag. If you talk to those soldiers and move to the next person you need to talk to quickly enough, they will stay in the facing you position, so we can get what's called the staring contest, or as Neerrm got, the longing looks. One soldier just stares at the other, being like, "Why won't you look at me, bro?"
So yeah, LCC was able to get ahead of the lock there, but it doesn't really matter since he gets ahead of us to the next screen, and we are just heading off to our next story trigger once again.
Okay, so yeah, Locke is going to... One of the kind of reoccurring plot themes in this section of the game is everyone really wants Terra to help them because she's an absolute powerhouse, but so far none of the returners, who are the rebel group, want to ask her to join. They're just like, you need to make your own choice. You had your choice taken away from you, so we're being good and letting you have your own choice. But maybe you might want to consider helping us. So many of the different characters they kind of interact with over the next section are like that. So it turns out we get in some ominous music here, and it's because Kefka, poor Kefka, he came to visit just doing a little recon job, and he got lied to, and he really doesn't like being lied to. So he, being the evil, terrible mage he is, set the castle on fire, because that's what you do to people who lie to you, right?
Of course.
And you know it has to be magic fire, because this is literally a stone castle. See, Edgar doesn't have any time for that. They have an escape plan.
And he's just gonna cut and run with them, and Kefka be darned. So yeah.
Yep. Go ahead.
So yeah, basically Edgar's plan was to have the castle submerge, and they can get away with this because it's all technological superiority and stuff, and yeah, that leaves Kefka out to dry, pretty much.
Or drier than he was. Yeah, thankfully, so Edgar would never leave his people behind if he thought they were in any danger, but you know, sinking castle, technological genius, you know how that goes.
So yeah, Kefka 6 these two magic armors on us because he's angry and he wants revenge. And so during this battle, we want to use Edgar's tools, auto crossbow, because it's multi-target, non-piercing, but non-split damage. So we can just do that, and we want to avoid fire because that will set off a 40-second cutscene called Magic by the community.
Yep, and that is a 40-second cutscene, so obviously we do want to avoid that, as cool as it is. If you are playing this game casually, though, I do highly recommend using magic in this, either this battle or anywhere up until the point you get to South Figaro. If Terra uses magic, it will trigger that cutscene. So even in the upcoming battles, which we are going to be fighting because we are still experience routing, you're going to see they're not going to be using magic at all. So here comes yet the next part of, you're really powerful and we'd like your help, but we're not going to tell you what to do.
And basically Terra's also saying that she's scared about what's going on, and they're trying to help her out, but they're not exactly doing the best of jobs.
Not at all. So... However, the current goal is to head further south to, they are trying to get to the returners to talk to their leader to figure out what to do. So they do have to go to South Figaro to do that. And to get to South Figaro, they are going to have to go through this cave. Also, please note that both of our runners are currently on chocobos, and at least we can see on LCC know how to use them. It's not relevant at all in a little bit. So talking to this guard to make him leave, giving us access to the South Figaro cave. Now, you do have to go and cure at this section, but then if you're on step route, the first step afterwards will be an encounter. Now, preemptive is really excellent to get, but the auto crossbow should one-shot kill everything except for those blearies. The very bottom damage amount that the auto crossbow can do, 118, to those enemies is actually 1 HP short of being able to kill them. So the strategies for all of the battles in here are simply auto crossbow and then queue up attack commands with at least lock, if not lock and Terra, just to make sure you get everyone, all the enemies destroyed as quickly as possible. Oh,
and sorry. Basically, if we are on step up, we shouldn't be seeing any double hornet encounters, because we don't want those. Those are not EXP. They aren't worth enough EXP for us.
Especially for the amount of time you take killing them.
Yes, but since we're on step up, we should not be seeing that encounter at all.
No, exactly. It is one of the last encounters I think you see as you're heading out of the cave if you're not on step route.
And LCC got that bleary miskill there where he had to have lock queue up attack to kill it. And Neerrm gets the Hornet attack.
Oh, right. No, Rivers pointed that out in channel. It's because he had the guard fight, so that does change his threat amount. So LCC is doing more map walking, and in my opinion, the walk between South Figaro Cave and South Figaro is the most difficult map walk because it's just, downright, just constantly shifting and meeting. No, not really. There might be like one extra encounter on Mount Colt, but I don't think the encounter route is that far off. Okay, so we will have to fight more. I guess.
So we saw LCC and Neerrm just now buying a set of 3 sprint shoes. This is to help us go fast on the mountain and for later things, but we also put everyone in the back row. We want to take the least amount of damage as possible, but in order to do that, we have to be in the back row, and that unfortunately makes our damage lesser. But we don't care about doing damage with physicals. We're just gonna use another crossbow and terrorist fire for all that.
Yeah, the only time we're going to be using Locke's attack for this mountain are simply going to be finishing off some enemies in certain sections if they don't die from the auto crossbow damage. So even this early, the auto crossbow is starting to get to the point where we can't just one-shot kill everything. So we're either running away, as seen here and explained, or we're going off route and picking up an Atlas armlet, which we will immediately equip onto Edgar, increasing his damage output both for regular attacks and also for his auto crossbow damage. So that will help kill things a lot more quickly, but we still don't want to fight these brawlers. They just simply don't give us enough experience.
And they'll take 2 turns to kill. LCC with a nice side attack on the Tusker Cypress group, and he's also changing up the equipment for Edgar and Locke right now too.
So this is the perfect encounter that we have here for LCC, because what he's trying to do is he is trying to get just Locke to run away, and that is part of the experience routing. Providing you can get Locke to run away from one of those 4-pack encounters, the experience will line up just so you don't have to fight 2 of the double Trillium encounters as you're heading down the other side of the mountain towards the boss. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get Edgar, Locke, and Terra to levels 10, 9, and 8 respectively. So that way when Sabin joins, he will be at level 11. And that is just simply for more damage output. So Neerrm not getting the 4-pack that he wants in that section, so he probably will not farm it. He will probably continue on, and because there are more 4-pack encounters potential further on, so he will wait to get those and try and get Locke to run away on those battles.
Now, the reason we want antidotes earlier is because these Trillions can do a move called Bane Touch, and they can poison us. And because of that, when we get it, if we try to move outside battle, we get a weird screen that just makes everything all fuzzy and makes a noise as well, and it's pretty annoying. So we want to cure that as soon as we can.
Absolutely. So I will note that Neerrm did take an extra encounter within the cave. He did fight those extra Tuskers, and Pincer, not nice. So that was likely because if you don't get Locke to run away in the 4-pack encounter, you do need some extra enemies. So by taking that encounter, which he got along the route, it means he should not need to farm an extra encounter. So that is definitely a really good backup strategy that I honestly would never have thought of. Giving some people some safety cures here on Neerrm's side. You don't want Terra to get too low. You do not have any life-restoring items at this point of the game, so you do not want people to be dead, especially when you need as many people as possible for the boss fight. Okay, so we are seeing some of the Trillium fights. That is great. So it looks like LCC gets his encounter right in front of the boss. That's always nice. But it is a preemptive, so with that preemptive, he was able to just run away. Oh, he did cure up Terra, because again, we do need her in order to be casting fire during this fight coming up. So having her dead is not a good idea whatsoever. Okay, so let's see how this fight goes. The general strategy is use fire on the bears, use the auto crossbow, and then row with lock. The reason is now that we have given him the mithril blade that was previously on Edgar, as we did remove that to give him the mithril pike, we want him in the front row to be doing as much damage as possible, but we want to delay putting him in the front row because he also does not have a huge amount of HP, and those bears hit quite hard.
Yeah, and they do have a higher chance for critical, I do believe, as well. Now, if everything goes well, this yell cut won't matter, and we'll just build down Vargas for the next trigger for this battle, which should be... oh, it's right now.
There we go. Yeah, I'm seeing it there now. I paused everything to give a delay, so... Okay, so, and Neerrm is also getting to his boss fight there now. So we'll see how that goes. So we get a bit of in-battle cutscene, blah, 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 fighting, blah, 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 betrayal. So now that Sabin has joined and everyone else is getting the boot, there's only one. The main way to end this battle is to use pummel. And what they were probably doing while we were waiting, while they were doing the fight, was they were trying to manipulate Vargas's Doom Fist, which is the first move he will do during this fight. We either don't want him to have it at all, or we want him to do that move immediately starting the battle, so it does not delay Sabin's pummel, because again, we need to do that pummel in order to end the battle. It's simply just a story trigger. But LCC getting out of there just fine.
So now we're just into another minute or so cutscene with LCC, and it's basically Sabin saying he'll join, and the world needs to regain its sanity, and stuff like that.
Okay, and so we did get to the damage gate with Neerrm as well, so let's see whether he got the Doomfist skip or not.
Unfortunately, he takes the Doom Fist to the face.
Well, that's okay as long as the Doomfist to the face is immediate, which it is. So, because again, he needs time in order to get to Sabin's Blitz and to input the Blitz command anyways. So you're really not sitting for any amount of time if you get it immediately. But if Vargas kind of sits for a minute and then does Doomfist, that wastes so much time because you have to wait for that extra text to pass before Sabin will do his attack. This game is, just to answer a quick chat question, this game is really, I wouldn't say easy, but is a really good intro game to speedrunning, RPG speedrunning. Oh, sorry, you go ahead, Zero.
Yes, so we saw LCC enter the Returner's hideout without safety saving. Sometimes people will safety save outside of it because there's a 1 in 256 chance to soft lock there, but he was very fortunate and didn't soft lock, so he's on his way to talk to Bannon, who talking about box and hope and helping and whatnot, and we don't exactly understand what this all means, but it's something to do with some last ray of hope and stuff like that. So now we are talking to our companions who are trying to persuade us to help out, and basically we talked to Locke first, then Edgar, then Sabin for for reasons of time. Then we go outside to talk to Bannon, and we want to say no to Bannon. Looks like LCC is taking a detour to get all the treasures up in the treasure room that we need for the run.
Yeah, and he's going to be doing that first. You can talk to Bannon and say no to him once, and then come up here to get the loot, because if you talk to this soldier, returner in this room, he will give you the Genji glove instead, and then you can go and say no twice to Bannon, and that will skip more cutscenes. So if done perfectly, like if you get the right NPC RPG timings, then you will get you will save, I think it's 7 frames.
That is correct, 7 frames.
It's always good to save that.
So if we said yes to Bannon, we would have wasted about around 40 seconds to a minute with another cutscene, with them planning, and then us going off to doing what would happen anyways. But we don't want... We also really gotten a really terrible relic called the Gauntlet, and that would not... It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It says it's supposed to increase our damage, but it doesn't. And the Genji glove is supposed to apparently decrease our accuracy, but it doesn't do that either. So in the end, the Genji glove is the best option.
Oh yes, we definitely want our items glitched in our favor rather than glitched to just be a worse item. So, which is the case with the gauntlet. It is supposed to be a good item, but in the way it's glitched, it just makes it really not helpful, while the Genji glove is glitched in a way which is extremely beneficial to us, so it doesn't have the downside it's supposed to have. So we happily take it and make Edgar stronger. There's a couple of themes of sort of things we're doing with some of our characters, and Edgar, we're going to be kind of constantly pumping up his attack damage, and Sabin, we're going to be increasing his defense, trying to make him more of a tank. So we're doing some manipulation here. We're equipping, putting sprint shoes on Sabin, the Genji glove on Edgar, and saving and resetting. So what they're going to be doing is, because they were on their specific step route, they're able to save, reset again at the save screen, and then reload their game, and they will be on a new seed, but one which will specifically manipulate the river in a very positive manner, providing they don't leave the room until that soldier hits the carpet. So that's exactly what LCC does. Now, what this manipulation does is the river has up to 9 encounters that you can have. The first 2 are mandatory, you just can't skip those. But the other 7 it depends on the seed you're on. And so by manipulating it this way, we guarantee that those last 7 encounters just don't happen. So we run away from the first one, and may fight the second one, we'll see. And you did see LCC was moving some of his commands around. That's taking full advantage of the memory cursor, which we, when he is ready to fight the next boss, all of his commands will be exactly where he wants it. So he is, by fighting these 2 pterodons with Edgar and getting everyone else to run away, it ensures that Edgar gains another level, bringing him also to level 11, giving him more damage output. So this is just an optional strategy. You can get away with not doing it, but it certainly helps. Also, Neerrm getting a little trolled by the NPC.
So, from this point on, we're not going to get any encounters, we're just going to float down the river. We also just want to hold down here, so we just go left automatically, because if we just don't hold down, we waste at least a little bit of time moving down to it. And we're off once more, and we should be getting to our friendly neighborhood octopus here in about 10 seconds or so.
There's no octopus here. There's just amazing. Getting my emotes ready. So yeah, this boss fight coming up is extremely technical, and unlike the previous boss fights, which have variable ATB, like the boss can start on different ATBs, Ultros has a bit of a gift for gab. So because of that, this fight has the same ATB and will be the same as long as you input it correctly each time. This battle will be exactly the same every time. So what they are trying to do is they are trying to skip Ultros saying delicious morsel, and they're doing this by weight tricking some of the attacks. So you see, he's not immediately loading up the fire spell with Terra. He waited until Edgar was ATB was full again, and then weight tricked that attack and loaded up fire. We're going to be doing that again shortly for Saban's Aura Bolt, and if both of those are successful and timed right, again, we should be able to dodge the delicious morsel, keeping everyone alive, because if he says delicious morsel, we're getting more attacks out of Ultros, and we really don't want that, because Bannon, who for LCC is currently at 99 HP, if he dies, that's game over, just flat out game over, and that's not fun for literally anybody. Let's see, perfect Ultros fight from LCC, and it looks like Neerrm is just passing the first save point.
No, second. The first one you wouldn't go into, the second one you automatically get put into.
No, you hit 2 save, but there's 2 caves you go in with save points.
No, but the first place save you go into, you don't automatically get put into the save point. The second one you do.
No, I know. I was just commenting on the cave with the save points.
Ah, okay, never mind, my bad. And Neerrm's now is entering into the fight with Ultros.
Okay, so let's see how he does. Though we did have our first example on LCC's screen of why Saban should not be trusted with decisions as he jumped into the river after an octopus, which is not smart in any scenario at all. So, what is going to happen here is we have reached the 3 scenarios, and we have to do Saban's first. That is mandatory in this category because, well, mostly mandatory. You're not going to like it if you don't. Because at the end of this particular scenario, you will have the opportunity to buy smoke bombs, which will be used in the other 2 scenarios, which we generally do lock and then Terra, but can actually be done in either order after Saban's. So we are picking up Shadow. He doesn't get renamed because he talks so little in this category. It's actually faster to just not rename him than it is to rename him to a shorter name. So also the step routing here is important because if we get an encounter in the forest, then we will encounter that on the on the Veldt, and that's definitely not ideal. So excellent Ultros fight also by Neerrm. So, and soon we will get the camp cutscene. Hope you guys like cutscenes, guys. So amazing.
Yeah, it's about 8 minutes worth of talking and movements and battles and the like. Also, we also get a new character here in about 40 seconds to a minute as well. Neerrm now entering his 3 scenario decision.
So yeah, we call this camp cutscene because literally you take a couple of steps and it shoves you into long cutscenes, and just when you think you have control again, they're like, oh no, have some more cutscenes. You're like, please, why? I definitely don't enjoy this section. There's too much just mashing, and because there's so much mashing in cutscenes, sometimes you can just forget. You can like look away for a minute and realize you've just been mashing for ages, which is not fun at all.
And it can just make you zone out sometimes since you're just trying to focus on getting through it, but then you just, yeah. So, we have here in the next 10 seconds or so our new character. Mr. Thou, or C, or whatever you wish to call him.
We wish it was Mr. Thou. Sadly, that wastes time. So yes, he becomes C. So we got our very own Mustache Man, and we're going to be doing some fun things with him. We are going to gain control of him briefly here now in a moment, and we're going to do some quick menuing with him once we get there. And what we are going to be doing is we're going to equip some sprint shoes on him. We only need those for a short period of time during this section, but it does save a few seconds, so it is worth it. Also changing the battle speed back to 1, because the strategy in this battle is to use his second sword tech, Retort, and that is a counter. So because it makes us dependent on the enemy in order for us to fight them, we want the enemy to attack us as quickly as possible. So, You do want to make sure to always use retort. Don't use dispatch in this fight. It is a bad scene. I have died at this fight, which is not great. I think he got the black belt, but though I didn't see, the
I
common
believe he
drop.
did.
Okay, so the common drop for this fight is the black belt, which we're not actually going to equip. Yeah, I've confirmed he did. But it does sell for a lot of money, which helps us not only get more smoke bombs, which, let's be real, neither of these runners need. Also, on Neerrm screen, take a look at the left soldier. You will thank yourself later. He is best soldier. But yeah, you want that extra money because it'll also help them buy an extra pike much later in the run.
The pike is also makes it more time. It gives you more, saves you time as well instead of having to go get something else like the rune edge in the Mogul cave.
Yeah, exactly. So hope you guys really don't enjoy General Leo because he's gone. Blink and you missed him. But that's okay, because it means we've got more time for Kefka now. Oh wait, sorry, he's back. But then he's gone. So if you missed him the first time, second time's the charm.
So yeah, Kefka seems to be wanting to plan something here, doesn't he? He seems to be getting something ready.
Well, he's definitely very happy that Leo is out of the way. And he apparently is going to poison them. He does not care that some of their own soldiers are there. He's like, nope, poison these guys. I don't care as long as the enemies die. Just showing once again the total caliber of character for Kefka. So we do have 2 fights here for Kefka, where we just have to hit him and then he runs away. And you may notice that LCC has not gone back into his menu to change his battle speed. And the reason is for these next 2 battles, Kefka's actually not only a player character, but from what I understand, he's a member of your party, because that's just how they had to encode things to make this work. So in either case, it does mean that it doesn't affect the battle speed. Doesn't affect this battle. He's just not affected by it. But it does mean after these first 2 battles, we do need to finally do our menuing, because otherwise we're going to have really fast battles we don't want. So taking most of all of Shadow's defensive gear, I didn't actually know you could menu in between those speeches. So yes, you want to take all of his gear and put it on Sabin, because again, we're trying to make him be much more of a tank.
Yeah, during this Templar Guard fight, we want to make sure we attack the front guys normally, then use our heavier stuff to take out the guards and back. They have more HP and it takes a while. Sometimes you can get lucky and get a Wild Fang from Interceptor, which is a status effect only exclusive to Shadow.
Yeah, and in that particular fight, we're totally okay with Interceptor showing up, but as a general rule, we're not, because he's just slow. We love him. I think he's more useful than Shadow, personally, but yeah, it's not so great. So Kefka's decided he really loves some grape Kool-Aid, and he's going to share it with everybody. Especially the people at Doma. Unfortunately, he was unaware of the allergy that everyone had to the artificial colorings in that grape Kool-Aid. So people started getting really quite sick, and it's super unfortunate. That poor guy fell off the roof. Don't worry about it. He's totally fine. So yeah, look how neon that water is. Like I wouldn't want to drink anything that color. No, that's a lie. I would totally drink something that color. It's a lie. So of course, Cyan and his friend thankfully didn't drink the water, or are close enough to it, or whatever. So it's this section why we did give Cyan the sprint shoes, because we do have him in control for just a few moments, but we do want to be running there. Otherwise, it's just so slow. So making sure to check on his liege, because of course he is a good samurai. That is what Cyan does. Sadly, he is too late. The king is on his death throes, and the king, being a we're assumedly honorable person, does tell Cyan to check on his family next, and you're like, uh-oh. That can never go well. Yeah, Kefka's Grape Water Challenge. Guys, don't do it. Don't drink the purple drink. If this game will teach you nothing else, it's don't drink the purple drink.
Indeed. So we here see Cyan's family in not so good health, or basically they're dead. And Sam becomes sort of incensed because of all this, and in a few moments here, you'll see him go after the management that did this to his family. So, yeah, he goes into a rage.
But I thought that was Gao. Ho 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 ho. Sorry, not sorry.
No, the good one, the Tar, and the good one.
Yeah, I need to take Interceptor for a walk. He can come be my friend. So yes, he flies off into a rage to the Imperial camp, and Sabin and Shadow see him, and they're like, "Well, we're totally not being sneaky anymore with this ruckus. Let's go help a guy." So Cyan is automatic, like he totally is out of your control in these fights. And what we want him to do is we want him to just regular attack, because as you can see, a regular attack does kill the grunts, and dispatch is just so slow. So at no point in these 3 upcoming fights do we want him to use it. One thing you may or may not notice is that this is the Kefka Narshe category. They may not have submitted, as you didn't need to. That happens. So it's good. Wow, 2 good grunt fights here for there. The last fight here, the general strategy is supposed to be that you attack with whoever your first character to come up is, which is usually Shadow, and then you wait with Sabin in order to see what Cyan is going to do, and that changes what you're going to do. So since Cyan did just punch the guy in the back, not doing enough to kill him, we want to kill off that front soldier. So we make Sabin do that, and it looks like everyone else has, with just regular attacks, at that point, it's faster to kill the guy in the back.
And we did
So
get a dispatch from Cyan there, which is actually better during that fight than the other 2.
And is Interceptor poorly socialized or just perfectly socialized to show up when he needs to, deliver a beating? Come on, we know it's true. So let's see how Neerrm does with his fights here now. See if Cyan is somewhat nice to him. There's a reason Cyan is not greatly liked in the speedrunning community. He might be a great plot character, but he does not like to do what he is told, and he is slow. So now we have Magitech armor, which is amazing. I wish we could keep them for the rest of the game.
It's also a status effect.
Oh yeah, it is. Which is why Kefka was in a Magitech armor at the beginning of the game. That cutscene, they couldn't get Terra in one without also putting him in one, just the way they programmed that status effect. Interceptor is also a status effect, actually, which is interesting. So we have elemental beams here and 3 different enemies. So, a pincer, but if you're going to get a pincer, this is actually the best place to get one, because you have to fight all these enemies with single attacks anyways. So LCC not going for the rainbow swag, and it's just attacking with fire beams. A great thing to do during these battles is to start organizing your inventory, because there's not a huge amount that you need to do, but you can get your Phoenix Downs to the top is the one most ideal thing you need, because you're going to start requiring the 2 Phoenix Downs, which we've picked up. Yeah, and I just want to note about the SNES Classic. It has been banned from the from this tournament because it handles lag differently, and so lag is actually much shorter and much better processed on the Classic, meaning that runs are faster done on the Classics. So it's kind of becoming its own category. So everything works fine in terms of doing at least this category on the SNES Classic, but yes, it is faster, so disallowed from tournaments. Same with like ZSNES. So we have escaped camp cutscene, and we are going for the next section. So LCC not doing the regular walking path on the map, but there are some extra steps which you do need to burn in this upcoming section. So by not taking those extra steps, it does mean that he can have less steps that he will have to grind.
It's getting very fortunate with only getting the same ghost encounters. There are 3 other encounters in here which we kind of want to avoid.
Oh yeah, many. Basically everything in this section hurts a lot, and from this point of the game on, we don't need to fight anything. Wow, Neerrm getting the same pincer. We don't need to fight anything for experience. So generally, especially in this section, we're running away. But as you can see, those ghosts, they hurt quite a bit because they're doing full party fires on you, and there are bombs later on which do an attack called Blaze, which is hugely damaging. And we purposely have manipulated it so we will get 1-pack bomb encounters rather than 3-pack bomb encounters, which is much better. Yeah, no, SNES Classic cannot do the sketch stuff.
So, yeah, Neerrm through his Magic Armor Gauntlet with only losing 7, which might lose some time, but it's not detrimental. And LCC is about to start up getting out of the train.
So this does continue the train, haha, of Sabin making terrible decisions. So the terrible decision in this case is deciding to get on a dilapidated train to check for survivors, rather than just yelling from the outside because it's filled with holes. They would definitely hear you if there was anyone in there, but nope, Sabin wants on that train. So due to that, it just means that they get stuck on this train. So LCC planned that perfectly with his steps. So you want to purposely get this still goings encounter, and because he burned those steps both from the world's map and by dodging those ghosts, it meant he only needed to take one extra step in order to get those still goings. It means he avoided I think it's a 3 or 4 encounter pack of
The Whispers and Whispers, probably.
Yes, of the Whispers, yes. Who do Demi, so they're not particularly deadly, but Demi hurts, and it's slow. It's not nice at all. We hope Neerrm will manipulate the Choco backdrop. That'll be great. So they want to be very careful on their step route from here on the train, because if they take even one extra step, it means they will get a particular encounter on their route to the next section, which is an encounter they will get on the Veldt for sure, and those enemies can cause berserk, and we ain't got time for that when trying to get Gao.
Yeah, we've seen that several times in this tournament where we've seen it happen, and they've gotten lucky where only one person has been berserked during that battle. So it can happen, and you can get past it, but it's really a big time loss in some ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, next in line of Sabin's bad decisions is, let me see if I can carry 2 grown adult males, who aren't small either, and jump some train cars. Here's hoping our training's paid off. Thankfully for Sabin and plot reasons, he was successful. Like most of the bad ideas he's doing, he's successful with, but boy guys, not a good idea.
Neerrm bringing the last of his steps too for the still going encounter.
Which is great. Nope, he stepped out a little too early, but that's okay. Yeah, he had the extra
LCC unequipping Cyan early, looks like.
Yeah, I can see the benefit to that. So the reason he is unequipping Cyan is in the next section. We want to purposely kill him, and that's much easier when he does not have armor. We do want to still let him have his sword, because we are going to need him to attack. So purposely going in to pick up those earrings. What earrings do is they do increase your magic damage, and surprisingly, it was to me at least, some of Sabin's blitzes, Aura Bolt included, actually count as magic attacks. So Neerrm also getting a ghost encounter, where he managed to lose 2 of his people, so that's particularly dangerous, unless... Yeah, he could get 1 more Phoenix down, but chances are he is just going to run to the train, and we're not going to see a train suplex from Neerrm for sure, because he literally can't. It's not that he can't, but it's just far, far too dangerous. So let's see what LCC does. I'm willing to bet not a train suplex, but we will see.
Oh, he's going for the suplex.
Is he? So one of the things that can happen here is you can get, the train can use an ability called Evil Toot, and if you do the Evil Toot, or if you get evil tooted, you get a random status ailment, and if you get a status effect such as Imp on Sabin or Stop, it means he just literally cannot blitz. So sometimes that does make it impossible, but we got our swag here from LCC.
And also with Evil 2, you can get confused or berserked as well. And that can also dampen your day.
But if you already have the suplex punched in before you get one of those, generally speaking, you do still suplex. Though if you get confused, you could end up doing suplexing one of your party members, or even doing the oh so rare self-plex. That's always fun. Again, there is a bits button if you are interested in donating to the channel. So we accept any and all bits. So train completed, we have another cutscene section. And what's going to be important, like after these next few text boxes, which are coming up, we're going to get a mandatory timer, which comes up. And even if we are in the menu, it will still count down. So we're going to use that opportunity to do some inventory management and to make sure that our cursor is in a couple of different spots to make things faster. Ooh,
poor Neerrm getting that blaze, but he barely survives.
Oh, you're ahead of me. Okay. I just saw him get the bomb back attack. So thankfully he does have curative items, which he's not using. He is swagging this. Oh my goodness, this is so dangerous. I do not even know. I'm walking. I don't even care what LCC is doing right now. Okay, good. He is curing. I was going to be like, the train can one-hit you. Thank you so much for the 1 bit, Pika-Laxalt. Muchly appreciated. So let's see. Neerrm will not, I can almost guarantee you, will not suplex the train. But let's see if he survives. Okay, good. So there's, oh, this is terrifying. Okay, what happens? Oh, that is so good. So he wouldn't have been able to suplex even if he tried, but he did not get a status ailment, which prevented him from doing the Phoenix down. So he did get through the train, and in the next section, you are automatically revived and fully healed. So we're not worried about the state of our party at this point. We just needed to get through that. You donate bits, there should be a bits button either in your chat or at the top of the screen. There is a get bits button, so you can click there and it will guide you through the process, and then you can throw them that way, I believe. So LCC is at the next section, and he is getting ready to go down the waterfall. So since he has already taken off Cyan's equipment and given his weapon back, he is already set up for this section. All he needs to do is wait for Shadow to go away and jump down this waterfall. So thank you so much for the 5,000 bits, Scepter K. Very much appreciated. So yes, it is time. So this is a really interesting section of the run. We are going to be doing a couple of different glitches kind of simultaneously. And the first one we're going to do we're going to start by killing off Cyan. So we're going to get Sabin to kill one of the piranhas. Cyan is going to finish, hopefully, killing himself. Unfortunately, Sabin does have True Knight for safety for later in this fight, but if you don't quite kill Cyan, it does mean you have to wait for Sabin to kill him off, so he won't protect him. So by bringing Cyan back and then using Retort, Retort's really kind of broken at this point. So Cyan will retort basically anything that moves. And so we're going to take advantage of that by using a blitz, which doesn't work. So in this case, we're going to try and suplex the piranha, which it is immune to. And so by doing that, it causes Cyan to retort, kill the piranha, and the game kind of freaks out because you used a magic attack of retort and a physical attack of the suplex all in a row, and it was just, oh my god, he's going to do Demon Chocobo. Sorry, got distracted. So yeah, by having both the physical and magic attack killing that last enemy, the game goes, you know what? I don't even know what's happening. I'm out. Also, thank you so much for the 100 bits, Eternal Cure. We do appreciate it.
So on the LCC side, we should be seeing our next character that we're going to be naming here soon, Gao. And you may think, oh, he just has 3 letters. We don't need to shorten his name. Well, Gao's name is used so much that we have to.
Absolutely. So, guys, we didn't get a full demon chocobo, but I don't know, the chocobo background with just the yellow eyes is almost more creepy. I love it. The further Neerrm gets in the tournament, the more he kind of trolls with the chocobo manip, as it were. So LCC did make sure to fully cure Cyan at the end of as before he started walking on the Veld, because we are trying to get through the Veld alive, ideally. We're kind of out of curative items unless we want to use a tent, and that's a waste of time. So we did know that this pincer attack was going to be coming. We do either want to run away or kill all enemies on our path to Mole Blitz, the next section. And we do want to attack the enemies in this section because as you can just one-shot kill them with regular attack, and this is not a Gao eligible encounter because it's a pincer. Back attacks are also not eligible, nor encounters with too many enemies or side attacks. So because of that, it is faster just to kill all the enemies. But any other eligible encounter we do want to run away from because we do not yet have our dried meat.
And after we get the dried meat, we know exactly what encounters we will get for the next 3 or 4 encounters at that point.
Absolutely, and ideally we only have 2 encounters more because it's 2 encounters between Moblitz and the next section, and ideally we want Gao to show up on one of those. However, it is a 5 in 8 chance that he will actually show up at the end of the battle. So this is a huge RNG section because Gao has, I think we've heard of him showing up as late as 8 encounters into it or more. First encounter Gao for LCCs, so that is not going to help Neerrm at all.
And after giving him the meat, we get about a minute cutscene with Gao talking and whatnot. But we don't have to mash, we just have to press A as we've done earlier in these type of things.
Yep, and now we get to sit through a 1.5-minute cutscene, so if there was a way to skip this cutscene, we would. Thankfully, though, it is a whole day to win cutscene, so we just sit in a whole day, and it's not even variable amount, it will be that amount every time. So Neerrm has also reached the Veld. So he has to go through the same thing that LCC did, run away from the first encounter, fight the pincer, run away from the next encounter, buy dried meat, and then the hunt begins. Okay, so let us 5 encounters before Gao. Yeah, that's not nice. I think even just this past week we saw Elmagus get 4 encounters. That's actually the match which was against Neerrm, and it allowed Neerrm to progress. So that was a case of Gao RNG just completely changing the match. We definitely don't wish that on Neerrm, so we're gonna see what happens. But Gao encounter RNG is not nice at all. It is nice to nobody, and it's why you want to make sure to manipulate your encounters just in case you do have to start grinding. You want to have the quick, easy encounters so you can get through them quickly. You don't want grasshoppers who can berserk you. You don't want things from sandy areas which can poison you. You don't want stray cats because they're just annoying. Even though the stray cat rage, if you can get Gao on that encounter, is fabulous. It's really good, but yeah, we don't want that.
And now we have our rage explanation from our friendly Kappa.
So get your Kappas in chat, guys. Kappa this up to support our good, wonderful Kappa friend. Oh, so he did not get Gao on this first encounter. Neerrm did not. So, again, you only lose a little bit of time so long as you get it at the second encounter. If you do not get the Gao in the second encounter, though, that means farming for an encounter, and that is obviously bad. Okay, good. Second encounter Gao. So that is not too terrible. Yes, that is an imp. That's what it's called in the English version, but in the his name actually here, it's the imp status effect, but that character's name is Kappa, and that type of imp in Japanese mythology is actually called a Kappa. So that is their name. So oh my god, what is LCC doing? Oh, apparently he's also doing some grass manip. Oh my goodness, I just see a Mega Man X Kappa. What channel? Oh, it's from Caleb. Of course it's from Caleb. I love it.
So we are entering this cave to find a special helmet, and we're about to enter into a static section of the game called the Serpent's Trench. There will be 4 encounters, and we can't manipulate that at all. We don't know what kind of formation we'll get, but basically, this place has been known to be hurt runs that can put you in a lot of pincers and give you surprise attacks quite often, and it can be generally not fun.
Not at all. So we're just going to see how this plays out, mentioning nothing about what could happen. Until we know for sure it's not going to happen. So we're going to get 3 men, 1 helmet. Yeah. Barney, you're not wrong. I didn't actually know he was an actual streamer, the Kappa guy. That's cool. Okay, let us see what happens. Wow, chat, you guys are vicious. That is the cutest pickle I've seen in my life. He's ready. He is so dapper. Okay, so let us see how this goes. Into the trench. So there's going to be 2 different directional choices, which you get. No, he's safe. So there's 2 different directional choices which you will get in the Serpent Trench. The first one we want to select is right, which is actually the default choice, so we don't have to do anything. But the second one, we will have to make sure to change it to left in order to go to the best and fastest path. So there are also 4 encounters total here. So we're wishing for all the luck.
A preemptive side attack, perfect.
Wow, you could not have nicer. Side attacks are faster than regular attacks anyways, but a preemptive side attack is, guaranteed fast. So giving us a little walk through this cave. Yeah, and everyone does need pickles. They're delicious, guys. So good. And if they wear a top hat, even better. Okay. Yes, so this is the Kefka Narshe race for Final Fantasy VI. We are racing up into the point where we fight and defeat Kefka in just after the 3 scenarios up in Narshe. It is approximately an hour and a half run, though both of these racers have approximately an hour and 25-minute PBs. So we're going to see how that goes.
And the last encounter is a preemptive for LCC.
That was very excellent.
And that was a very nice trench.
Yeah, that was such good trench luck. Wow. Sometimes the game just loves you. And again, the only real execution mistake we've even seen at all here, and maybe it wasn't a mistake, maybe Neerrm did it on purpose, was getting that 1 encounter in the Moogle fight, and it just kind of, between that and the good encounter luck that we've been getting here from LCC, it just goes amazingly. So making sure to pick up smoke bombs from here, and we're also going to sell some sleeping bags and pick up a mithril pike. Okay, lady, please get out of the way. We have a boat to catch.
A bit of trolling from the enemy, not the enemies, the NPCs, but he still gets out of there in good time.
Yeah, so neither LCC nor Neerrm got the single aggreform encounter. So the first encounter, if you're on step route, in the trench can be a singular aggreform, and that is super dangerous because when they are in alone as a single enemy pack, they have the potential to use the full party ability Aquarake, which is murderous, to put it nicely. So yeah, and I do mean nicely. It can just one-shot kill you if you've taken any damage with Sabin. So something else to note about the trench is Cyan is your slowest character to run away. So if he happens to die on the way, we're not too sad about that. As you're going to note, Neerrm's not going to bother to cure him even though he's at 80-something HP because we want him to die. So we have reached lock scenario, so we did equip sprint shoes and move him to the 2nd position, and by timing going into our menu correctly, we were able to skip right past the guard, so no presto changeo outfits here. We are just skipping right to the next section of the game.
Now, the reason we put lock in the second position is because of a possible pincer attack with a gold bear encounter in this cave. If he's in the second position, he'll face the bear, and if he gets the gouge ability used on him, he'll live. Possibly.
So yeah, you're going to want to use these smoke bombs now that we have them in every encounter except for a preemptive or a side attack. So in any one of those scenarios, then wow, that's really slow run luck for poor Neerrm there. But yeah, in any other situation, you just want to use smoke bombs. LCC bought 21, I believe, which is more than enough to get through with some left over. Making sure to go out of the way to pick up a Thunder Rod, which is in that chest. See, this is the encounter we were talking about. So this is why we want him in the second position and getting the gouge as well. So look at how much damage that did while facing the gold bear. Now imagine how much damage that would do if it was a back attack. Yeah, so him having Locke in second position there saved his life, saved his run. So yeah, super duper important you do that. Just doing our last bit of shopping here for Neerrm and a back attack. Wow. Making up for some of his good trench luck here in South Figaro Cave. I do just want to quickly note that Thunder Rod that he picked up is not a Thunder Rod the first time you go through the cave. So there's no point in picking it up early. It is a different item. I think I've heard it's a Phoenix Down. I'm mostly trying to guess.
I do believe it's an ether.
An ether, okay. Either way, useless to us, unlike what you're going to see from the magic of the Thunder Rod.
Now, as you see with the Thunder Rod, it does an extraordinary amount of damage. Thunder Rods ignore defense, and they also ignore reflective. They reflect on it as well, but that's here nor there. It's basically does extraordinary damage because it just penetrates defense. So we were able to kill it in one go.
Okay, so we are moving into our last scenario, and we are back on the river, and Benin has joined us once again. So, as previous, we do have to keep him alive, though it's less dangerous now that we have smoke bombs. And on the river, we can have as many as 3 encounters. The first one here is mandatory, so we are definitely going to see what happens. Hopefully we get through, so we've got at least 2 encounters there. Something else we're going to be trying to do in the meantime is now that we've got that second pike, we want to make sure to put it onto Edgar. So it might have already been done, and I've missed it, in fact. But
yeah, you did it in the first encounter.
Excellent. So you get that done right away, and that sets up for the final battle. You can do it basically any time, but as long as you do it before the encounter. But I know I like to do it as early as possible, just to ensure it's done and to give yourself lots of opportunities. So, like here, while you're waiting during the animation of the smoke bomb is a perfect time to swap out those pikes. So, and we do return to Narshe, so we are getting near the end here because this scenario is incredibly short. But let's see how the end of Neerrm's goes, because we will have our second. He's just about to the fight. You're seeing a lot of these encounters are really just the things, well, they are exactly just the things Terra was fighting at the beginning, so we're really of no threat. It's just simply slower to try and fight them than it is to smoke bomb them. So, back to Tunnel Armor the second with our ghosty friend. And absolutely just destroying the Tunnel Armor. Ignoring magic defense is a beautiful thing. So we do have this security system which is here in Narshe, and what you're supposed to do is follow the path of the glowing light so you can escape without triggering the alarm. But we really don't have time for that. So what they're going to do instead is they're going to follow the light path halfway through until we're just below the door. And then by holding A when you step off the path and stepping up, it will hit the first A press that it registers is the one which will escape the glowing lights without the encounter, and then you are home free to continue through the cave without having to follow all the way around. let's see how Neerrm's river goes.
He's almost out of the river too, it looks like.
Yep. So looks like he went up to his thing, trying to get his hike on. At the very least, he's organizing his inventory. And we are actually almost out here for LCC. He's got an encounter, maybe 2, and then he is out, and then it's just cutscene city until the final battle.
Yeah, it's about 4 minutes of cutscenes that we sit through with everyone talking about what's going on and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay, so we are just getting inside with Neerrm. So we're semi-high-fiving. We're close. So yes, we are done with the encounters now for LCC. So now it's just the last section of cutscenes. So lots of mashing here, tons of excite. Enjoy the different backgrounds. That's always fun. So yeah, this is a run which is really cutscene heavy, as you have seen, but it's not too bad. They're short enough that just when they're starting to get really bad, you can skip past them. And now to talk a little bit about the section we're coming up to next. Like the Moogle fight, it is a 3-party battle. Unlike the Moogle fight, we do get to create our own parties this time. So we are similar to the Moogle fight, just going to take one party. So we're going to make sure to put everyone really good into one party. And then we are going to walk them down to the end. So we won't have to do the movement skip this time, though, because they come in 2 waves and gives us lots of chances to bypass them. So Neerrm, of course, getting through the security system, no problem. So Narshe really does not believe, they're like, nope, we're neutral. There's no way the Empire would attack us. I don't care what you say and how important it is. We just care about ourselves. It's certainly really not great. But everyone's starting to reunite and show back up and be like, hey, new allies! I'm a boy who lived in the belt. What up? And talking about, Kefka's devious deeds.
And the Elder just dismissing what happened to Doma because they were helping returns. And who is this with Locke? I don't recall seeing them.
Yep, nope. This is our lovely friend General Kutan, the most powerful general of them all. So General Kutan, as you noticed in Locke's scenario, we didn't recruit any new characters, we just skipped past. So the way the game is set up with the character slots is you have Locke and Terra each have a slot, and then the rest of the slots get filled with the Moogles you use in the big fight. And every time you get a new character and name them, then their information overwrites the Moogle and the Moogle information in that slot. But because there was no person that we recruited and named in Locke's scenario, that maybe they're supposed to be, it means that Moogle is still in that slot. So it looks really cool to have Kutan there, but unfortunately Kutan cannot be equipped, does not level up, and is generally useless. Thankfully, we don't need Kutan in this run, and some of the full game runs still have Kutan as well, because we just don't need that character. Other runs, though, you will see the quicker version, or a slower but quicker than casual version of Locke's scenario, where we do still go and recruit that character. So we have their usefulness. Did we see Umaro? What? So yeah, we are definitely... Yeah, knowing the items change. I knew things changed between the World of Balanced and the World of Ruin item-wise, but I didn't actually know that there were items that changed while still in the World of Balance. Like, for me, that's insane.
LCC taking the risk and not safety saving.
Ooh. He doesn't need safety save. So the reason we tend to safety save here is because the Kefka fight is really quite tight, and we want to avoid his third attack, which can be a full party ice 2, which basically obliterates. So So I'm a big safety saver anyways, but generally speaking, if you are going to safety save in any spot in this game, I highly recommend it be here. And when
Looks
he's
like he's trying to do this thing.
he's doing the swag. I don't know that is he doing the thing? We'll see.
I thought he was, but it looks like he's not.
He's definitely doing He's definitely doing the swag where you can actually talk to the other characters on the top of the screen, and if you don't press A, like that text box stays up until you say press A. So generally speaking, you don't need to. So it's super easy to dodge the soldiers. The rider's a little more difficult. That Netta rider has been the bane of my existence. But let's see how we do with Kefka. So generally, you want to weight trick some of the attacks. You either want to use the Hornet or Exocyte Rage with Gal, and Dispatch with Cyan, and regular Genji Glove attack with Edgar. Oh man, I think Scratch Dragon actually did the thing in one of his tournament races.
Ooh, Edgar getting poisoned with only 39 HP left.
That, as long as he's got the turn order fine, that doesn't matter. Because that's more than enough HP to get through this battle. So let's see how the rest goes. Oh, very nice.
Very nice indeed.
So it looks like LCC has finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 8 seconds. So that means he will be progressing to the semifinals. And we'll see. This is the first run race of the quarterfinals, so we don't actually know who he is going to be against next. But it is either going to be Lynn or Tina Hacks. So that will be, and both of those are excellent runners. So that'll be very interesting to see. So GG to LCC. But let's see how Neerrm does with the rest of his, as he has now reached Kefka. He's not getting the swag, he's just going for it. I did not see him safety save, but that does not mean he didn't. LCC doing us a favor and showing us the rest of the cutscenes.
Ooh,
oh
he's
my
going
god,
for
he's
the
gonna
thing.
do the thing! He's doing the thing! He did it, I think. Oh my god, he did the thing!
Wow. Impressive.
So the person who was just talking about wanting to see the thing, that was the thing. Oh, I can't even explain it. It's just too beautiful. And yeah, taking advantage of the menu and the timings of party switching to move those enemies out of the way without encountering them. It saves time to do the thing, but you lose so much time if you fail, and it's quite difficult. That was so swag. I can't even. I feel blessed today for seeing the thing. Okay, so he has also completed. So with the official SRL time of 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 8 seconds. So GG to Neerrm. That was really an excellent run when it came down to it, though. Other than walking into that mammoth, though, he really just he didn't get the good RNG LCC had. He didn't even have bad RNG. He just didn't have the amazing RNG that LCC had.
All right, thank you guys, Natara and Zeroing, and thank you LCC and Neerrm for putting on the great race. We have 3 more matches in the quarterfinals, one of which is scheduled already to be Sunday.